Happy Monday to you. It's Rico Lamar here with M.O.T.I.V8 Fitness Systems Mentoring and Education. Once again, another M.O.T.I.V8 Monday. And this one here, I kind of wanted to hone in on careers, digital careers. Been an educator 20 plus years, and really just seeing where today's market is going. Knowing that myself and many other you guys have children who are technology natives. I guess at this point technology natives are probably closer to adulthood than anything. But I know that just even thinking about with my kids and my daughter specifically, and how she's always locked to her devices, and not only that, but she really has a deep interest within technology. And so I was doing some research this weekend and came across excuse me, a video with Nipsey Hussle. And I know many of us who a lot of people are still grieving over this loss of rapper Nipsey Hussle. If you don't know who he is, feel free to Google him. Just really one of our great minds, of today, and it's just unfortunate that he met his demise in such a tragic way. But Nipsey had dove deep into the area of STEM, and he was doing a lot of great work within his community. He had a Vector 90, which is kind of I think centered around technology as well, kind of a collaboration, a co-op network of creators, I believe. His store was a smart store, the Marathon store. He had bought up a lot of the commercial property within more or less Slauson Avenue, which is kind of where he and his brother Sam kind of grew up around that particular area, and they had a t-shirt business there when they were younger. And so they just have a deep history, and so it was pretty significant when they were able to go back and buy up that whole kind of strip mall in that area. But the young man that Nipsey had collaborated with, and you can kind of probably find this on YouTube as well, but there was a young man he bumped into at Starbucks. And those of you who have seen this interview, you probably already know where I'm going with this, but excuse me. But there was an interview where he was talking about how he took his daughter to Starbucks. He wanted like some kind of caramel latte or something like that. But he remembered walking past this young man who had his laptop open, and he was doing some kind of virtual movements in front of his laptop. And so him, Nipsey been kind of a tech head himself, if you will. He knew that technology hadn't been out yet. He knew that it was kind of next level, and being the person that he is, thinking about entrepreneurship and ownership, and particularly with this space, because he has, I think one of his businesses is also in the space of cryptocurrency as well. And so I think he had gone back and forth to the bathroom, kind of checking out what this young man was doing. And then finally, he asked him, excuse me, what exactly is that right there? What is that software that you're using to do that? He said, I know. He said, I kind of pay attention. I read a lot. I'm very, very heavy into the tech space. And so I know that that's something that isn't out. And so, from then on, the two kind of linked up. Next thing you know, Nipsey had made this young man the CTO of his business. But I really want to focus on this young man. Again, if you don't know him, his name is Iddris Sandu, Sandu. And come to find out, his mother, I think his parents are from Ghana, and but he was raised in Compton. And this young man is really an anomaly. He was working for Google at 13. This young man has done some stuff for Yahoo, Twitter, Instagram, Tesla. He's actually the one who designed the software in Nipsey Hussle's store, the Marathon store. It's pretty cool. I think I've seen him do some things where, like if there's a particular design on the t-shirt, if you were to flash your camera from your phone in front of it, a video will pop up, like a YouTube video. It'd be a play button and everything, but it's all virtual. And you push that button, and then it would play like an unreleased video of Nipsey. And so a lot of the merchandise within the store, kind of had this capability to it. To be either it was an unreleased audio track or an unreleased video or something like that of the source. So Nipsey really was kind of ahead of his time, wise young man. Even he himself has ties to directly from Africa. His father is from Eritrea, and so he's had a chance to go back as well. So again, I like to think that has something to do with just the way he thought in general. Because I noticed even with myself, in going to undergrad and a lot of times I would chop it up with a lot of my classmates who were from Africa. And so, just the headspace and their goals and for what they wanted to do, direction wise, it just seemed like they were a little more on a larger impact. They would come here, get their education, go back home to help rebuild. And so that was always the goal. Nothing less, period. And so, but this young man, he really is an anomaly. He actually dropped out of school. He had an offer, actually 2 offers from MIT, and he had already been doing the work already. He's already doing pretty well on his own. And so he just felt like, 4 years of going to school would actually hold him back. And he was right. And so us being in the information technology age, we have to understand that this is where we are now. And so we must be pushing our students and our children in this direction as well. Because looking at the market right now, it's looking like even companies like Google, it seems to be that they don't have enough people to fill the positions. And I think I seen a recent ad saying that they were offering jobs at $75 an hour, starting salary with some jobs at $80,000 a year. And so, as we're looking at, and I know a lot of us who went to college and we came out, and a lot of people aren't even making half of that, and so I just think that instead of being on the consumer side of things, and particularly with the African American community, in particular, we spend 1.2 or 1.3 trillion a year, with only 2% of that being spent in our own backyards. And a lot of us aren't really building wealth the way we need to be building wealth. So and keeping that in mind, and then if you got some of your young people who are getting ready for college or going into high school, really introduce them and I guess kind of sit down with them, dialogue with them to see what career-wise what they're thinking about. And if the most of these guys, like I said, they are technology natives, really drive home the message of, instead of being a consumer, let's aim to be the producer, because one of the things that Iddris spoke in depth about had to do with infrastructure. He spoke about, Steve Jobs, which was, a huge influence on him, when he introduced the iPhone. That is what kind of triggered, that passion in him. And he talked extensively about going to the library to further broaden his knowledge in that area. Excuse me. And so, again, he speaks about being a very woke young man. And, it's for me, I couldn't help but as I was listening to him speak, to think that we really have to protect our kings. Because really a lot of the knowledge that this young man was dropping, there are some powers to be who don't want us to have that knowledge. They want to keep us as the consumers and not the producers. But this young man, I think he's only 21 right now, is really, mature beyond his years. And so, it seemed like it was divine order that him and Nipsey was running to each other at that time. And, the Smart Store or the Marathon Store is really just the beginning of what those two were going to do. And so now that Nipsey, has passed on, this young man has really taken it on his shoulders to really, talk to the people, particularly his community, about about ownership and about infrastructure. Don't just worry about downloading the apps and buying the apps from the store. Let's work on how to actually build the platform and teaching our kids how to code and the many different aspects of the technology space. And so that's really what I wanted to talk to you guys about. Like I said, particularly our parents and our educators. Really talk to our students about the particular field of technology and the careers that can be explored within that particular sector. So once again, this is your boy Rico Lamar with another Motivate Mondays. Be sure to tune in to our YouTube channel, the Motivate Experience TV. Until next time.